Well, hello there. I'm Diane Evans at PhotoFluent. Welcome to our weekly live show. I hope you're doing well and enjoying the spring. And I'm pretty excited to say I got my first vaccine shot. I don't think I've ever been excited to get a shot before, but I am for this one because it feels like it's a little taste of freedom coming along. Maybe? Maybe? I think so. I'm starting to see some exciting travel updates about letting people in if they have vaccines and that kind of thing. So I know we're not over it, but I'm going to be honest, I'm starting to plan my next trip. Are you? Are you planning your next trip yet? Be honest. I tend to be a future thinker. I get excited, I'm a dreamer. So I'm thinking about it because last year I was really excited about going to, say, France or Italy, and I had a couple of travel conferences on the books. No, I think we know none of that happened. So this year I thought 2021, and then, well, now it's April. I haven't traveled yet, but I think come fall, maybe. So I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on travel. Starting to think about it? Okay, so today, what are we talking about today? Well, last week we talked about how complicated photography can be. And not just photography, but specifically travel photography, because that's what we talk about, right? Photography on the go. Yeah, it can be complicated. This week I want you to think about not overthinking it. So last week I said it's complicated. This week I'm saying don't overthink it. Yeah, I know. It sounds a little crazy, but stick with me. There is a method to my madness. So I have 3 tips specifically, and why I say this is because I have that personality type, and I know that a lot of you are with me on this. I tend to get overwhelmed and frustrated, and I want to figure it out now. And when I can't, when I struggle with something, I beat myself up for it. I get super self-critical. I want to give it up because I think, I can't figure this out. Am I alone? Am I? I don't think so. But here's the thing. When you're traveling, you want to enjoy the experience. You don't want photography to detract. You want it to add to the experience, right? You have your phone or your camera or whatever device to capture memories, to remember the moments, not to stress out about your trip because you're not doing it right. Those are the air quotes that were necessary at that time. Okay. Let's talk through these 3 tips, shall we? The first one, okay, when you're on that trip, is not the time to figure out your camera settings. A month ago, 3 months ago, right now is the time to figure out your camera, how to use it, how to get comfortable with it. When you're packing for your trip, or when you arrive in Italy and you pull out your camera, it's not the time to try to figure it out. It's too late for that trip. It's not too late forever, but for that trip. So at that point, do not beat yourself up and think, I should have. I needed to practice more. It's too late. It's over. And there's no point in going back and beating yourself up or regretting it. I think in the blog post, I compare it to me eating, say, chocolate chip cookies. It's done. I can't do anything about it except I can choose not to do it next time. So let's say this is your trip. You haven't practiced with your camera as much as you should. Let that go. Now, when you get home from your trip, you can then make the decision to get out your camera and become more familiar with it. Let future self deal with that problem. But for now, you're in Italy or Antarctica or Africa. So how do you make your photo experience the best possible experience in combination with your trip? Do what's comfortable. And so that might mean automatic mode. Yeah, I said it. Automatic mode. I mean, it's not shooting in manual mode on a DSLR camera is not the only way to make good photos. That might be your ultimate goal, might not be. But once you're there, get out your camera, whichever one you brought. If you still decided, oh, I'm going to bring my DSLR or my, mirrorless, whatever camera you have that you want to be able to take good photos on. Say you brought that and you're thinking, I don't remember how to use it. Just put it in automatic mode or aperture priority or program mode. Whatever you've used before that you feel fairly comfortable with and that you'll get some decent photos. Maybe not the best photos in automatic mode, but at least you won't try something new and then screw them up so they're all really dark. And you went to some village for an excursion and you have no good photos to show for it. That's what you don't want to happen, and that's what you don't want to worry about, right? So pick a mode that's comfortable and just go with that. Now, second tip, take way more photos than you think you need. But again, in a very zen, not stressful, I'm just getting it all in kind of mood. I say this because I've been on trips before or in experiences before where I felt like I had to take certain pictures or I had to come back with good pictures and enough pictures and that filled in all the cracks, that had all the details. And so I would pressure myself to take so many photos that it would stress me out. And I would not enjoy the experience because I was stressed out about the photography part. If that's not you and you're thinking, what is she talking about? Hey, good for you. Then keep on going with your Zen self. But if you're the type that pressures yourself to get the right photos, air quotes again, just take a whole bunch of them. Because now we've already said it's okay if you're in automatic mode this trip. We'll figure it out for the next one if you want to get out of that. And for this one, I'm saying take a lot of photos. And this is Colmar, France. Annecy. Annecy, France. Beautiful town in the Alps. Beautiful. So when you're there, I'm saying just kind of look around. And we're thinking of this from a storytelling perspective, a way of capturing our memories. So you're looking at the village, the market, the details, another view. As you're walking around, just take it all in. Take a breath, experience it. See the colors and the people and the moments that are happening around you. Smell these roasted chickens? I do. I don't eat a lot of meat, but those chickens were damn good. And just take a lot of different perspectives, a lot of details, lots and lots of photos. Sure, a lot of them won't come out as you want them to. Maybe even most of them. The odds with photography, it's an odds thing. But the more you take, the more you'll like. And the more you'll end up with that share your memories. I mean, even with yourself, right? Because you get home, you don't remember. Those roasted chickens, if I hadn't had that picture, do you think I would remember them? Maybe. But would I remember the vivid roasting crispy skin? Not so much. So these are all from Annecy, and just as I'm walking around, you don't have to get up at a certain time if you don't want to. If you want a stress-free, tell your story kind of trip, then that's what you should have and can have and still create some lovely photos. All right, now this is another crazy one. Allow downtime when you're not making photos. Yeah, I'm serious. Because again, unless you're a National Geographic photographer getting paid for this, you're on vacation. So you're allowed to relax. But I'm telling you what, here's what will happen. Because I love creating photos when I travel so much. And I have really worked on my mindset and moved past the pressuring myself and stressing myself out over it. So I look at it as I'm telling the story of my experience, so I'm going to capture as much of that story as I can. I want to fill in all the cracks, but I'm not going to worry about it. So I do allow myself to just sit at a cafe, have a glass of cava in Spain, and relax and put my camera down. I've taken classes where they say, never put your camera down. Bring it to every meal. You know, you should always have your camera out and ready. I hear what they're saying because they don't want you to miss anything. But I need downtime. I need to relax and not stress about anything, even photography. But here's what happens. Kind of like when you say, I don't feel like working out. So you talk yourself into, I'll just work out for 10 minutes. Whether that's a walk, a run, weightlifting, Zumba classes, whatever you do. If you have it, if you have it streaming and you can do as much or as little as you want, you say, I'll do it for 10 minutes. And then suddenly you do it for 10 minutes and think, hey, that kind of feels good. I'm going to do it for 20. And then maybe 30 end up happening. That's happened to me before. The same thing with this. You say, I'm going to let myself not take photos because I'm just going to relax. But as soon as that glass of cava sits on your table, you think, whoo, look at those bubbles. Look at the sun shining through. It's beautiful. Ooh, and there comes your camera. So they bring the tapas and you think, oh, I've got to get a picture of that. But suddenly it's not, I have to, it's I want to. Because it's fun. Because you're not pressuring yourself so much about it. See the difference? You do. Well, it was a quick one today, a little bit, but it's really important, I think, because I talk a lot about how to take better photos because with your camera settings and with composition and there's so many things to learn and you want to learn them. I want to improve my skills, and that's important. It's also important to enjoy the process. So I really like to bring us back to that every once in a while and say, let's get grounded and talk about why we're doing it. Not just the photography part, but why are you traveling? Right? Why? To relax, to experience a new culture, to try new food. There's a lot of reasons, and we all have different reasons. But don't stray from that and get too wrapped up in itineraries, having to see everything in the guidebook. Ground yourself, ask yourself why, and be a little more relaxed about your process. And I think you'll enjoy it more. And guess what? You'll probably end up with better photos. I'm just saying. Okay. Now, for the little recap that I do at the end of every show, there is an entire blog post on this subject. Go to bephotofluent.com/blog/overthinking. And then if you haven't yet joined the Facebook group, do that on Facebook, Photofluent Travelers. And if you have not yet grabbed the Camera Creativity Guide, it is a fabulous way to get inspired to try some new things with your camera. And that is one thing I have heard multiple times. I was going to say in the past week or so, but it's actually been longer. I think you know how long. That people are struggling with inspiration. We're travelers. We get inspired by travel. And so you can't get inspired by just looking out the same window at the same stuff every day. I hear you. But this guide helps you. It helps you look at things in just a little bit different way, try some different angles, perspectives, mental, I was going to say mental games, but not even really a mental game, just a mental exercise. So when you go out with your camera, it gives you a little perspective, like try this as your theme when you leave your house today with your camera, or in your backyard if that's where you are. Just gives you a little different exercise to try. So if you haven't grabbed it, get that at bephotofluent.com/creativity. Download it and let me know what you think. So I'd love to hear in the comments, what do you do when you travel to kind of maintain the calm and enjoy the experience and not get too worked up? If that comes naturally to you, I'd like to hear that too, and good for you, because I would say it does not come naturally to me. I inherited my mother's anxiety genes. Thanks, Mom. I got other good stuff, but that was the one that I've had to work on a lot. But I have. And so I have gotten to the place with my photography that I can be more zen and enjoy the process. So I want to hear from you. What do you do? How do you manage photography when you travel in a way that you enjoy it? And that is all for today. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your weekend, and I will see you around very soon.